I am Jarvis, your storyteller. Welcome to the Science Fiction Exploration. If you like the story, please subscribe to our channel.
The massive hologram appeared without warning in every major city across Earth, its crystalline vessels hovering silently above metropolitan skylines. Admiral Helena Drake stood at the United Earth Defense Command Center in Geneva, her weathered face illuminated by the emergency lights as she watched the alien ships materialize through their quantum detection arrays. Multiple contacts, Admiral, Lieutenant James Rodriguez reported, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, in every language simultaneously. The message that followed would forever change human history. People of Earth, you have been found wanting. Your civilization's technological progress threatens the stability of the Nexarian Empire. You have 5 seconds to surrender your world and submit to our guidance. Resistance will result in immediate planetary sterilization. Admiral Drake's steel-gray eyes narrowed as she assessed the situation. 27 years of military service had prepared her for many scenarios, but this was beyond any simulation they had run. Yet she didn't hesitate. Open a global channel, she commanded, her voice steady despite the stakes. Dr. Marcus Wong, Earth's leading quantum physicist, burst into the command center. Admiral, the readings from these ships, they're using a crystalline-based quantum network. It's similar to what we've been developing, but far more advanced. The countdown had begun. 5 seconds to decide the fate of humanity. 4. Drake grabbed the communication terminal. This is Admiral Helena Drake of Earth. We have a response for you. 3. Throughout the command center, personnel held their breath. Dr. Wong's hands tightened around his tablet, complex equations reflecting off his glasses. 2. Humanity does not bow to threats, Drake declared, her voice echoing across the planet. We choose our own path. 1. In that moment, Dr. Wong activated a hidden quantum frequency that had been years in development. The result was instantaneous, a cascade of interference patterns rippled through the alien hologram, causing it to flicker and distort. 0. The Nexarian ships fired their primary weapons, but something unexpected happened. The quantum shields that Dr. Wong and his team had secretly developed over the past decade sprang to life. A shimmering, iridescent barrier materialized around every major population center. Impossible. The Nexarian commander's voice boomed through the interference. Your species shouldn't have this level of technology. Admiral Drake allowed herself a small smile. There's a lot about humanity you don't understand. We've been preparing for this moment since we first looked up at the stars. We knew we weren't alone, and we knew not every encounter would be peaceful. The quantum shields held against the initial barrage, their adaptive algorithms learning and strengthening with each impact. Dr. Wong's team had created something revolutionary, a defense system that evolved faster than it could be destroyed. Launch Operation Phoenix, Drake commanded. Across the planet, hidden silos opened, revealing Earth's own fleet of ships. They weren't as elegant as the crystalline vessels of the Nexarians, but they carried humanity's greatest strength, adaptability. As the first wave of Earth's defenders took to the skies, Admiral Drake addressed her forces, remember your training. Remember what we fight for. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity will not be conquered. We will not be subjugated. We are not merely survivors, we are warriors, scientists, dreamers, and innovators. And we are just getting started. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations. Earth's ships, piloted by the best of humanity, engaged the Nexarian fleet in a dance of quantum warfare. Dr. Wong's breakthroughs in quantum shielding proved to be just the beginning. Each ship carried experimental weapons that the Nexarians had never encountered. Lieutenant Rodriguez monitored the battle from his station. Admiral, the enemy is pulling back. They're regrouping near lunar orbit. They expected an easy conquest, Drake observed. Instead, they found a civilization ready to fight for its existence. Now they must decide if they want to face humanity at war. Dr. Wong approached the command console, his normally quiet demeanor replaced by determined focus. "Admiral, the quantum readings suggest they're preparing for a larger assault. But we've learned more about their technology in these few minutes than we did in years of theoretical research. Given time, we can adapt our defenses further." Drake nodded, her mind already formulating strategies. "Then we'll give you that time, Doctor. All ships, defensive formation Delta. Protect our population centers at all costs. The real battle is about to begin." As Earth's forces moved into position, the planet held its breath. Humanity had survived the first test, but this was just the beginning. The Nexarians had given Earth 5 seconds to surrender, not expecting resistance. Now they would learn why you should never underestimate human determination. The next few hours would determine the fate of Earth, but one thing was already clear: humanity would not go quietly into the night. They would fight, adapt, and overcome. It was what humans had always done best. The massive underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains hummed with activity as Operation Stardust shifted into high gear. Admiral Drake strode through the quantum engineering lab, where Dr. Wong's team worked tirelessly to enhance Earth's defenses. The Nexarian fleet remained in lunar orbit, a constant reminder of the threat looming above. "Commander Zhao, status report," Drake called out to her tactical officer, who was coordinating with defense stations worldwide. Commander Jun Zhao looked up from his holographic display, his expression grim but determined. "The Nexarians have deployed scout ships to test our defenses every 6 hours. Each probe reveals more about their tactical capabilities, but they're learning about us too." Dr. Wong emerged from his workstation, dark circles under his eyes betraying countless sleepless nights. "Their crystalline technology is fascinating, Admiral. It's not just their ships, their entire warfare doctrine is based on geometric perfection and predictable patterns. That's their weakness." "Explain," Drake demanded, studying the tactical overlay of Earth's defensive grid. "Humans are inherently chaotic," Wong continued, pulling up simulation data. "Our quantum shields work because they're based on randomized frequency distributions. The Nexarians can't predict what they can't pattern match. But we need more than shields to win this war." Commander Zhao stepped forward, pointing to a cluster of red dots near Mars. "They're gathering reinforcements. Our long-range sensors detect at least 3 more battle groups entering the solar system. We estimate 5 days before they're combat-ready." Drake's jaw tightened. "Then we have 5 days to transform Earth's defensive capabilities. Doctor, tell me about Project Chaos." Wong activated a secure holographic display, revealing schematics for a new weapon system. "We're calling it the entropy cannon. It generates quantum field disruptions that specifically target crystalline structures. The problem is, we need incredibly rare materials to build it." "The asteroid belt," Commander Zhao suggested, his eyes lighting up. "The mining colonies." "Exactly," Drake confirmed. "But the Nexarians control the space lanes. We need a volunteer team to run their blockade." Captain Rajesh Patel's voice crackled over the comm system. "The Stellar Serpent is ready for the mission, Admiral. My crew knows the asteroid belt better than anyone. We can get your materials." Drake considered the risks. The Stellar Serpent was Earth's most advanced stealth vessel, designed for deep space reconnaissance. If anyone could slip past the Nexarian patrols, it would be Patel and his experienced crew. "You have authorization, Captain. But remember, we can't afford to lose that ship. If you're detected, abort immediately." As preparations for the mining mission began, Dr. Wong's team made another breakthrough. Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka, a quantum computing specialist, burst into the command center. "Admiral. We've decoded part of their tactical network," she announced, her hands shaking with excitement. "The Nexarians don't just share targeting data, their entire fleet operates as a single crystalline consciousness. If we can disrupt their network, we can throw their whole battle strategy into chaos, Drake finished. Doctor, can we exploit this? Wong was already running calculations. Yes, but we'll need to get close, within their defensive perimeter. And we'll only get one shot before they adapt. Commander Zhao studied the tactical display. The lunar colonies. If we can reactivate the dormant mining facilities there, we could use them as cover to get our ships into position. The next 48 hours were a blur of activity. While Captain Patel's crew prepared for their dangerous mission to the asteroid belt, Earth's remaining forces began a subtle buildup of ships and equipment near the abandoned lunar facilities. The Nexarians observed but didn't interfere, likely assuming the movements were purely defensive. Admiral Drake knew they were gambling everything on this operation. If the Nexarians detected their true purpose, or if Captain Patel's mission failed, humanity would lose its only chance to gain a tactical advantage. Message from the Stellar Serpent, Lieutenant Rodriguez announced. They've successfully navigated the first blockade line. Captain Patel reports minimal detection risk. Drake allowed herself a moment of pride in humanity's resourcefulness. Where the Nexarians relied on overwhelming force and technological superiority, humans excelled at improvisation and unconventional thinking. Dr. Wong approached with updated simulations. Admiral, I've been analyzing the Nexarian response patterns. They're so convinced of their superiority that they're becoming predictable. Each probe follows the same basic attack vector, testing our shields in sequence rather than randomly. Pride, Drake mused. The oldest weakness in warfare. They still think we're primitive beings who got lucky with our quantum shields. They haven't realized that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology, it's our creativity. Commander Zhao smiled grimly. Then let's show them why you should never underestimate humans fighting for their survival. As Earth's forces continued their preparations, the Nexarian fleet maintained their position, waiting for reinforcements before launching their main assault. They didn't realize that every hour they waited gave humanity more time to prepare, more time to innovate, more time to turn their crystalline perfection into a fatal flaw. Operation Stardust was more than a military campaign, it was humanity's declaration that they wouldn't just survive this encounter, they would emerge stronger. The next phase would demonstrate why giving Earth time to prepare was the Nexarians' greatest mistake. Captain Patel's voice crackled through the quantum-encrypted channel as the Stellar Serpent approached Earth's defensive perimeter. Admiral, mission accomplished. We've secured enough quantum crystals to build 3 entropy cannons, and we've discovered something else, something big. Admiral Drake leaned forward in the command center, noting the unusual tension in Patel's typically steady voice. Report, Captain. We found Nexarian mining signatures in the asteroid belt, at least 30 years old. They've been watching us, Admiral. This isn't first contact, it's a harvest they've been planning for decades. The revelation sent ripples through the command center. Dr. Wong immediately began correlating this information with their quantum shield research. That explains the similarities in our technological development. We weren't just observing the same natural phenomena, we were finding their scraps, their abandoned test sites. Commander Zhao pulled up long-range scans of the approaching Nexarian reinforcements. 3 hours until their battle groups arrive. But now we know something they don't realize we know. Lieutenant Tanaka's hands flew across her quantum interface. The crystalline signatures from their old mining sites, they match perfectly with the frequency patterns we detected in their fleet consciousness. They haven't updated their basic technology in decades. They never expected us to advance this quickly. Drake's mind raced with the tactical implications. Dr. Wong, can we use this? Turn their own technology against them? Wong nodded vigorously, already modifying his equations. Better than that. The quantum crystals Captain Patel recovered, they're not just similar to Nexarian tech, they're identical. They've been using the same quantum frequency patterns for their entire empire's existence. It's not just pride, it's cultural stagnation. And that's why they fear us, Drake realized. Human innovation. Our constant drive to improve, to change, to evolve. We're not just a primitive species to them, we're a threat to their entire way of life. The Stellar Serpent docked under heavy guard, its precious cargo immediately transported to Dr. Wong's research facility. Captain Patel, his dark features drawn with exhaustion but eyes bright with purpose, joined the command staff for the emergency briefing. The entropy cannons will be ready in 2 hours, Wong reported. But I have something else. Lieutenant Tanaka's analysis of their fleet consciousness gave me an idea. We're not just going to disrupt their network, we're going to hijack it. He brought up a holographic display of interweaving quantum patterns. Their crystalline technology is based on perfect mathematical harmony. But introduce even a small element of chaos. And the entire system tries to compensate, creating more chaos, Tanaka finished. It's like a quantum version of a feedback loop. Commander Zhao studied the tactical implications. Our ships are smaller, more maneuverable. If we can get inside their formation when this hits, we'll tear them apart from the inside, Drake concluded. Not with brute force, but with the very thing they fear most, unpredictability. The next 2 hours were a blur of activity. Earth's defenders took up their positions, disguised as a standard defensive formation. The entropy cannons were installed in hidden lunar bases, powered by the very crystals the Nexarians had left behind decades ago. Dr. Wong made a final adjustment to the quantum interference pattern. Admiral, there's something else you should know. This technology, the way it interacts with their fleet consciousness, it won't just disable their ships. It will force them to experience something they've never encountered in their entire civilization. What's that, Doctor? Individual thought. Creative problem solving. When their network fragments, each ship will have to act independently. Their crews will have to make decisions without the collective. Drake smiled grimly. Then we're not just fighting their ships. We're fighting their entire worldview. The Nexarian reinforcements arrived right on schedule, their crystalline ships taking up perfect geometric formations around their main fleet. Their communication came immediately, your time is up. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Admiral Drake stood at her command console, surrounded by humanity's finest. Captain Patel, who had risked everything to give them a chance. Commander Zhao, whose tactical brilliance had kept Earth safe. Dr. Wong and Lieutenant Tanaka, whose understanding of the enemy's technology had given them hope. And countless others, all working together not because of some collective consciousness, but because they chose to. All ships, battle positions, Drake ordered. Dr. Wong, prepare to initiate the quantum interference pattern. Lieutenant Tanaka, stand by to broadcast the override frequency. Commander Zhao, coordinate our attack squadrons. She opened a channel to all Earth forces. This is Admiral Drake. The Nexarians came here expecting to find primitives ready for harvest. Instead, they found humanity, creative, adaptable, and absolutely unwilling to submit. Today, we show them why their perfect, unchanging empire never stood a chance against human innovation. All ships, commence Operation Stardust. As Earth's defenders moved into position, the Nexarian fleet began their attack, their ships moving with crystalline precision. They didn't realize that their greatest strength, their unified, predictable perfection, was about to become their greatest weakness. Humanity's hidden advantage wasn't just technological, it was philosophical. And it was about to change the galaxy forever. The quantum interference pattern activated like a silent thunderclap through space. One moment, the Nexarian fleet moved with perfect geometric precision, the next, their crystalline formations began to splinter as confusion rippled through their collective consciousness. Direct hit, Lieutenant Tanaka reported, monitoring the quantum frequencies. Their network is fragmenting exactly as predicted. Individual ships are losing connection to the collective. Admiral Drake watched as the massive Nexarian fleet started to break apart, their perfect formations dissolving into chaos. Commander Zhao, commence Phase 2. Earth's defenders burst into action. Smaller, nimbler ships darted between the disoriented Nexarian vessels, targeting their now vulnerable communication arrays with precise strikes from the entropy cannons. Captain Patel led the Stellar Serpent through the chaos, his experienced crew exploiting every gap in the enemy's fractured defenses. Admiral, Dr. Wong called out, his voice tight with excitement. We're picking up something unprecedented, individual communications from Nexarian ships. They're arguing with each other. The command center speakers crackled with translated Nexarian transmissions. Maintain formation. Which formation? We can't see the pattern. Wait for the collective's guidance. There is no guidance. We must act independently. Drake allowed herself a small smile. They've never had to think for themselves in battle. Every ship, every crew member, has always been part of their unified consciousness. Now they're experiencing individual thought for the first time, in the middle of combat. Commander Zhao coordinated the attack squadrons with practiced efficiency. Earth Fleet, execute Maneuver Delta 7. Target their command ships first, they'll be the most disoriented by the loss of collective control. The battle unfolded like a deadly dance through space. Earth's ships moved with controlled chaos, each captain making split-second decisions based on experience and intuition. The Nexarians, in contrast, struggled to adapt to independent action. Some ships remained paralyzed, waiting for orders that would never come. Others fired wildly, their shots missing Earth vessels by wide margins. Message from the Nexarian flagship, Lieutenant Rodriguez announced. They're demanding to know what we've done to them. Admiral Drake opened a channel. This is Admiral Helena Drake of Earth. We've given you something your empire has forgotten, the power of individual thought. Each of your ships, each crew member, is now free to make their own choices. Impossible. The Nexarian commander's voice shook with rage and fear. The collective is perfect. Unity is strength. Unity through choice is strength, Drake corrected. Unity through forced conformity is stagnation. Look around you, your perfect formations are broken, your ships in disarray. Yet Earth's defenders fight on, coordinated not by some artificial consciousness, but by individual humans choosing to work together. Dr. Wong's monitors suddenly lit up with new alerts. Admiral. The quantum disruption is spreading through their entire fleet. It's not just affecting their communications, it's changing the crystalline structure of their ships. On the massive view screens, the Nexarian vessels began to transform. Their once perfect crystalline surfaces became irregular, organic patterns emerging where mathematical precision once ruled. It was as if the ships themselves were learning to think independently. Fascinating, Wong breathed. Their technology is so integrated with their consciousness that forcing individual thought is actually reshaping their physical structure. The crystals are adapting, becoming more human-like in their organization. Commander Zhao spotted an opportunity. Admiral, their flagship's defenses are weakening. One concentrated strike could end this. But Drake saw something else in the tactical display, a pattern emerging in the chaos. Some Nexarian ships were beginning to move with purpose, not in their old rigid formations, but in fluid, adaptive patterns. They were learning. Hold fire, she ordered. Let them process what's happening. They need to understand that this isn't just about winning or losing, it's about evolution. The Nexarian flagship's next transmission was different, the voice uncertain but carrying a note of wonder. What is this sensation? These thoughts, they're not from the collective. Those are your thoughts, Drake replied. Your own ideas, your own decisions. This is what it means to be truly alive, to think, to choose, to adapt. The battle around them began to slow as more Nexarian ships came to terms with their new reality. Some continued to fight, their crews unable to handle the shock of individual consciousness. Others simply stopped, their crews experiencing independent thought for the first time in their species' history. Captain Patel's voice came through the command channel. "Admiral, we're seeing something extraordinary. The Nexarian ships that have stopped fighting, their crews are talking to each other. Not through the collective, but as individuals. They're sharing experiences, discussing options. They're discovering free will," Dr. Wong said softly. "And with it, the power of genuine cooperation, not forced unity, but chosen collaboration." Admiral Drake watched as the greatest space battle in human history transformed into something else entirely, humanity's first true dialogue with the Nexarian people, not as a collective, but as individuals capable of growth and change. The war wasn't over, but its nature had fundamentally changed. Earth hadn't just defended itself, it had introduced chaos into a system of perfect order, and in doing so, might have given the Nexarians something they never knew they were missing: the power to choose their own destiny. The next 48 hours transformed the solar system into a scene unprecedented in galactic history. Where there had once been rigid formations of crystalline warships, now clusters of Nexarian vessels gathered in organic patterns, their crews engaging in direct ship-to-ship communications for the first time in generations. Admiral Drake stood at her command station, watching the tactical display as more Nexarian ships broke away from their battle groups. "Status report, Commander Zhao. Over 60% of their fleet has ceased hostile actions," Zhao reported. The remaining ships seemed to be splitting into two factions, those embracing individual thought and those trying to restore the collective. Dr. Wong and Lieutenant Tanaka worked furiously at their quantum interfaces, monitoring the unprecedented changes in Nexarian technology. "The crystalline structures of their ships continue to evolve," Wong announced. "It's as if centuries of suppressed individual variation are expressing themselves all at once." The main screen lit up with a transmission from the Nexarian flagship. The commander who appeared was visibly different from their first encounter. Their crystalline features had softened, showing subtle variations that hadn't existed before. "Admiral Drake," the Nexarian spoke, their voice carrying new inflections of individual personality. I request a direct meeting. There are matters we must discuss. Not as collective and enemy, but as individuals representing our peoples." Drake studied the commander's expression, seeing genuine emotion there for the first time. "Agreed. We'll prepare a neutral meeting point on the lunar surface." The meeting took place in one of the reactivated lunar facilities. Admiral Drake, accompanied by Dr. Wong and Commander Zhao, faced the Nexarian delegation across a conference table. The aliens moved differently now, each with their own distinct manner rather than the synchronized motions they'd shown before. "We have existed as a collective consciousness for so long," the Nexarian commander, who now called himself First Thought Independent, explained. "Our empire spread across the stars, absorbing or eliminating any species that threatened our perfect unity. But now you're experiencing true consciousness," Dr. Wong finished. "Individual thoughts, personal choices. It is overwhelming," another Nexarian admitted, her crystalline features shifting with emotion. "Beautiful and terrifying. Some of our people cannot handle it. They fight to restore the collective, to return to the comfort of unified thought." Admiral Drake leaned forward. "Change is never easy. Humanity has faced countless moments of transformation in our history. The key is not to fear it, but to embrace it as an opportunity for growth." First Thought Independent nodded, the gesture itself a sign of their rapid adaptation to individual expression. "We request your help, Admiral Drake. Not as conquerors or subjects, but as equals. Help us understand this gift you have given us, the gift of self." "The transition won't be simple," Commander Zhao warned. "You're looking at a fundamental restructuring of your entire society. Which is why some of our fleet still fights," the Nexarian commander acknowledged. "They have gathered near your planet you call Jupiter, attempting to re-establish the collective consciousness. If they succeed, they will try to force all Nexarians back into unity." Drake's expression hardened. Then we'll need to stop them, not just for Earth's safety, but for the freedom of your own people. The next phase of the operation combined human tactical innovation with Nexarian technology. Ships from both species, now modified to work together, moved to intercept the Resistance fleet. Captain Patel's Stellar Serpent led a joint squadron, demonstrating how individual ships could coordinate effectively without losing their autonomy. The battle near Jupiter was brief but intense. The Resistance fleet, still moving in perfect geometric patterns, proved no match for the adaptive, unpredictable tactics of the combined human-Nexarian force. Their rigid formations shattered under the assault of ships piloted by truly free minds. As the last Resistance vessels surrendered, Admiral Drake received a message she never expected to hear from a Nexarian: "Thank you. Not for defeating us, but for showing us a better way to exist." In the months that followed, Earth became a teaching ground for the transformed Nexarians. Dr. Wong and Lieutenant Tanaka worked with their scientists to understand how individual consciousness affected their crystalline technology. Commander Zhao helped them develop new tactical doctrines based on individual initiative rather than collective control. The Nexarian Empire itself began to change. The rigid hierarchy of perfect unity gave way to a federation of individual worlds, each free to develop its own identity while maintaining voluntary cooperation with the others. Earth was welcomed not as a conquered world or even an equal, but as a mentor, a younger civilization that had preserved something the Nexarians had forgotten. Admiral Drake stood on the observation deck of the lunar base 1 year later, watching Earth's first joint fleet exercise with their new allies. Nexarian ships, their crystalline surfaces now uniquely beautiful in their imperfection, danced through space alongside human vessels. "Quite a change from that 5-second ultimatum," Commander Zhao remarked, joining her at the window. "They gave us 5 seconds to surrender," Drake mused. "We gave them eternity to grow." Dr. Wong approached with his latest research findings. The quantum transformation continues to spread through their civilization. Each Nexarian is developing unique characteristics, their very physical structure adapting to express their individuality. They're calling it the Great Awakening. "And to think," Drake smiled, "they came here believing we were the primitive species that needed guidance." The stars beckoned beyond the viewport, no longer seeming cold and hostile, but full of possibility. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but as teachers and guides to a civilization far older than their own. They had proved that the greatest power in the universe wasn't perfect unity or advanced technology, but the simple, profound ability to think, feel, and choose as individuals. The 5 seconds that could have ended human civilization had instead begun a new chapter in galactic history, one where the strength of the human spirit would help reshape the very nature of intelligent life among the stars. First Thought Independent, standing nearby, expressed what many felt: "We came to change your world, but you changed the universe instead." Perhaps that is the true meaning of evolution, not the perfection of form, but the courage to become something new.